Hello.
Hi.
We
Hello,
haven't done this in a
everyone.
while, but let's just like, who are we? What are we doing? Super fast, super chill.
Do you want to do it, Jess? I feel like I'm always
Um,
sort of like taking
yeah.
over the conversation. Sorry.
Well, hush. No, I talk over you. No, we'll take this offline and have our polite off. Hello, my loves, my devs, my darlings, and people who might be brand new. So, if you're watching this on Twitch or you're watching this on YouTube or in the far future on a new technology we haven't dreamed of, we're Jess and Ramon, and we are teaching a free JavaScript bootcamp built around the free Code Camp JavaScript curriculum. You can find all of information about what we do on the Bad Website Club website, which is a bad website. And we are almost halfway through the JavaScript bootcamp, which is terrifying
Oh
and
my
exciting.
goodness, you're right. Like when I go to gather up the YouTube videos and put them in the playlist, which by the way you can find at youtube.com forward slash
Hey,
at bad website club. I wish I'd planned that.
I mean, it was you had to like fess up that you didn't. That was very gracious. Do you know what? If you were gonna come and participate in our community, do you know what I completely left off the spiel, which is very, very important, is we have a Discord where you can come and hang out. We'd be so excited to support you and our learners too. We'll go ahead and drop that into the chat in just a second. But if you want to come hang in the Discord, or if you want us to not get you and boot you out of the streams or anything, there is also a code of conduct that we adhere to. It's bit.ly/bwc-coc. And the process for if you see something that doesn't sit right with you, come and get one of us. If one of us is acting up, go get the other one.
Yes,
If
please.
both of us are acting up, something is very wrong with the universe.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to drive today because folks suggested we wanted to try it nice and slow, and it will be painfully slow with me writing JavaScript.
Oh, never.
We're starting on step 27.
Hmm.
And what we're doing is what y'all did. I didn't do my homework. I'm sorry. Is we added some
Yeah,
what's
the
that? Reset.
Yeah, so the important context is like we added a reset function that what it does is it empties out all of the form. So all of our inputs values you can see are empty, empty string, empty string. Our toggle our task form is hidden, and our current task is emptied out.
Okay. So this is like if I'm doing this and I push the X button.
Wait, Eric says homework was until step 24.
Oh,
Hold
oh.
on. Hold on. No, 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 Eric, I'm sorry. That's not right. Uh we stopped just before step 24 and we gave you all homework until step 27, which is where we started.
That's okay.
I'm
That's super chill.
I'm so sorry, Eric. If we have time, we can go back and do those as well.
And we'll
But
talk through this. Yeah, I see a couple of people saying, I didn't do my homework. I'm so behind. We do not expect y'all to like keep up with step by. So we're just talking through this to keep us fresh. Um, we'll keep these videos on. Life is more important than JavaScript. Do not feel like you need to keep up. Everything is fine. I mean, life is often not fine. So this const we
we try our
said
best.
is one of those arrow functions. Okay. So this is
Correct?
one of those functions that are written as a const. Don't love it, by the way. Resetting everything and then hiding that. I think this is what we're going to use when we say discard. So I think that's that.
Yeah. So if we scroll down now, what we're going to be doing is we're going
Oh,
to replace line 36 when we're clicking our discard button with calling the reset function. Um, Perfect. Now
that's
what we want to do,
it.
let's test it real quick. So
Yeah.
let's go to add new task. Why don't you type in
La la
something here? Yeah,
la.
perfect.
Let's do it for today. Things
Oh,
and stuff.
magnificent. So let's go to
X
close and then discard.
discard.
If we go back to add new task,
All
hey, look at
done.
that.
All safe. All chill. Okay. And do you know what? Since all we had to do was call this function, I'm pretty confident about that. Ha
Same.
ha.
Pat
Let's
pat.
flop on. So we should display the cancel and discard buttons to the user only if there's some text in here. Okay.
Hmm.
So here's the event listener for close task button. That's if I've clicked the close task button. Create a form. Okay. Oh.
So we're going to create a
Oh.
new variable
Yeah,
called
which
form inputs contain values. Is going to be set to now. If there is a value, let's break this down. First, we have check if there is a value in the title input field. So that's title input. The I in input is capitalized.
I'm just testing you.
You're good. Dot value. And that's it.
Okay.
No, because if it's a value, it's truthy.
I still so we've talked about how different things click at different stages for different people. I don't want to keep sidetracking folks with me being like, this still doesn't hit for me. But the truthiness, I think, is going to go ahead and get to be more truthy as this
Yeah.
goes on. Yeah. So here I'm
So
saying,
does it contain input values equals title input dot value? But we're not done. We need
okay,
to check if there's a value in the title input,
or
or remember how to do or?
yeah, it's the double pipes, but where did I leave? Ah ha
Oh,
ha.
there you go.
So or so I remember that and hang on, let me like come out here. And super easy to remember because that's and. But this one, or, right? Right? Wait, that feels okay.
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay,
So
Jane, I'm gonna get you. Okay, look. So Jane is saying I used exclamation point equal no because I'm basic. This is not basic. That's what was in my
nope.
heart. And it worked for each of them. So like this does the same thing. So like, right?
Yep.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So, uh, sorry, that's what
So
you'll get when you're like when you self deprecate is I come and get you. So,
no, it's perfect. So now we'll
uh,
do the same with date input dot value. And then we need another
or
or. And now we do the same for description input.
no, no.
It's a long variable name.
You're very, very sweet to pretend it's not just me typing a bit goofy today. Okay, so
Tina, can I steal this? Fry an egg, scramble eggs, still both good eggs. Love it. In terms of like different approaches. It's true.
yeah, both good eggs. And this idea that there's more than one way to yeah, we get a pat
Oh
pat for
yeah.
remembering the or. So we're going to create an
Yeah.
if statement.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, hold on. If it's true, indicated that there are changes, we will do the show modal. Otherwise, we'll do reset. See, this is why we check.
okay,
So what we're doing here is, you know how we get that modal for like, hey, are you sure you want to discard?
yeah.
We're only going to show it if there's values.
So I think that in that case, this needs to be inside the if statement. Wait.
No,
So
this is
it,
perfect.
yeah, everything's fine. So if form inputs contains values,
Yep.
and can I just say that? And if it's truthy, it'll just be like, yeah, okay.
Exactly. Because um
But I could also say three equals true, and that would do the same thing.
correct.
Okay.
Both of those are valid. The one I learned in terms of like different methods is to a stomach, all potatoes are mashed.
Huh. Okay. So,
Right?
oh gosh, and if folks have different ways to say, as long as it works in different languages and cultures, I love this so far.
Same.
Um,
So
so
so we've got our if now. That's great. But then we need else.
else. And so
So
this,
if it
so if there's a value, it'll give us a confirm close. Otherwise, just close it. We could just,
yep, reset. Do we want to try it
okay.
out?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, obviously, but dot, 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 um,
Mhm.
dot, dot, dot,
So we go to close. Let's discard it.
add new task.
Perfect.
Ooh, I'm very chuffed with this. This is very
Same.
nice. Hey. So I'm going to let you do the pitch so I can have some soda.
Absolutely. So, um, this bootcamp is free. Free Code Camp is also free. They're a registered NGO, so they depend on donations. If you can, if you want to, if don't be spending money that you don't have. You can throw them a couple of dollars every month. We're going to click on Ask Me Later. We can also come back later and do it.
Right?
Yeah.
So, refactoring. Somebody who is not me and not you. Remind me what refactoring means, please, learners. We can
Oh,
enhance
yeah.
code readability. So, refactoring this submit event listener into two separate functions. Okay. First function is oh.
Sorry.
No. Like, you're sorry that you are enchanted by how charming and nice our learners are. If somebody's watching this in the future, everybody's just being cute and good, and it's very distracting. It's terrible. They're the worst. So, what are we doing here? You're the boss. You're driving.
Yeah. So if we scroll down real quick, let's take a look at our submit event. Submit. So the thing is that our submit is quite long. You saw it's like something like 30 lines or something. So what we're going to be do, as Wakababoon says, we're going to simplify our code in order to avoid repetition or redundancy.
And CCS does it
S-
in a different.
oh, sorry.
So, yeah, we're rewriting our code so it does the same thing, but it simplifies things or it feels a little bit better. Or do you know what? I've seen folks refactor stuff to show off. Tina, rewriting your code to
Yeah.
be faster, cleaner. Or sometimes I've seen people like rewrite a code base in a new programming language to learn it. So it's just
Yeah.
doing it over now that you know it works, either
Exactly. So
to make it work better or to make your life more difficult for fun.
exactly. The emphasis here is on maintainability, that is coming back to it months later and being like, wait, what on earth was I working on? Uh, to make your life easier in terms of finding your bearings. So what we're
Oh,
going to be doing here is doing a refactoring method called extraction. So what Jess is doing,
extraction. Oh,
doesn't that sound cool? So what Jess is doing here is extracting two functions. One is going to be add or update task, and the other one will come back. We'll come back to.
is this how we do an arrow function?
Const add or update task equals arrow function. So the equal sign
Uh,
needs to be moved over.
I was gonna say, I was like, this doesn't feel extremely right. Okay, look, we got no yellow. We've got no red yelling lines.
Yeah.
Um, move the okay.
So now we're going to go down to our submit function and move the data, our index variable, the task obj object, and the if statement. So go
I
down to our
didn't
submit.
see our
Oh,
submit.
hold on. Go back up, please.
Yeah.
So, back down. Sorry. Line 50 something.
Line 50
There.
something. Oh, dang, there's a lot going on here. Is
So
this our
we're going to
submit?
move all of, yeah. So we're going to move all of lines 52 to 62 into this function.
Okay, you can't wait. Let's cut it. So I'm
Yep.
using Command X. You might use Control X. You could right click on your mouse and say cut as well. And I'm going to paste this in here, and I'm going to do this uncomprehendingly. But we're going to go ahead and talk through what this does real fast if it's not a bother.
Yeah, let's go through it. So first we're getting that data array index that is using the find index. We did this yesterday. We used find
Yeah.
index to
Oh
find
yeah,
out
we did
which
this.
item. Yep. Then we're going to create our task object. And then we're going to, hey, if this index does not exist, it's -1, which means the task we're working on is not exist yet. We're going to unshift it, i.e., put it into the beginning of the array. I want to flag something Jane said here. I did not get this from these instructions at all, and I'm gonna be honest. This is a guess. Let's find out.
It does say move the array data array index. Oh, the variable, the task object, and the if statement. So we've
And
got
that, in
there.
terms of context, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
We're saying add or update task.
And then I mean, we could just see.
Yeah.
Shush up. Okay. When it said move, it literally did mean cut and put it here. Rad.
Yeah. Cool. Pat, let's keep going.
Hat, right? Okay.
So now we're going to
Con
do the same thing. Yep. So now we're going to
oh,
extract another function.
stop. Don't do that. As you could tell, I'm very, very serious and very stoic about doing this properly.
Equals, and
Um,
then smooth
curly
brackets,
babies, um,
arrow,
arrow,
curly brackets.
and then the
And now we're going
task
to go
data
down
for
and get the other
each.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. So if
And
we
this is our
scroll
submit
up a bit,
against. Yeah, right here
yeah. So lines 65 to 77.
to 77. And this might seem a little weird, like, how do we know when this ends? But we can click on our curly braces. We
Ooh.
can really click on any of our braces and see what they end. So if I'm getting this function,
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I click on its opening bracket, I know where it ends, which is 77. I could also listen to Ramon, but if you don't have a very good at JavaScript bestie on speed dial, the clicking on that, I'm moderately confident.
I feel pretty good about this. Yeah.
We're immortal. We're shining. Okay.
So in our add or update task function, we're going to call the update task container and reset function. So inside this function that we extracted, we're going to call both of these functions.
And this is a lot less scary. Like go and figure out exactly which lines to cut and move in. But this one, hey, call these functions. We're fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Now remove from inside the task. Oh, we're inside the task form. Okay, so
Yes.
this
Oh,
is this is a leftover piece of code from when we had that big long string of code where we cut and pasted most of it into our new function. And here we say, you know what, we already have reset as part of our new refactored function. So we're going to take away, we don't need to call reset twice, but instead we're going to call this brand new function add or update task to say, okay, we've made this sort of larger, more streamlined function that's a little bit smarter instead of these multiple other functions. We're going to
yeah.
call that. So if I see, so I'm listing for an event. If
Yep.
I see the submit event,
Yep.
don't
On our
do the
task
default
form.
behavior on our task form.
Yep.
Don't do the default behavior, which is refresh, but instead call this function that we've just refactored. Okay.
Pat. I bet. Ooh.
Ooh.
So there is a problem. If we add a task and add another, the previous task gets duplicated. Yeah. Cool. Let's add a different now one. Like with, yeah, perfect. Read my mind.
Okay. Oh,
Ooh.
and
Now
this
what's
is
going on?
because please.
Go for it. Go for it.
So what it suggests here is like I think if we made another one, it would duplicate both the dot and the question mark again.
Yes.
Yes.
Because what's going on? Because what's going on is when we're calling inner HTML, we're adding to it. If you scroll down a bit, we can see that in action. See, we create that task container for each. See, line 37, task container.innerHTML plus equals. So when we're plus equalsing, we're adding to something that already exists.
So what it's suggesting up here is to say, cool, when you update the task container, Go
Yep.
ahead and reset what's in here to an empty string.
Correct.
And how does that, ta
You can copy
so
that. Oh, task container dot inner. Yeah.
yeah. I was trying to, like, sneakily look at it, but we knew what I was doing. Um, and this is just
Equals.
equals, not plus equals.
No,
Maybe.
not plus equals because we're setting it to an empty string.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try.
Hey, let's just try.
Mhm. Try.
See, this is why we this is why we ask you to drive more often, because you don't say absolutely silly things while you're typing.
What? Never.
No, you're so reasonable. You're so reassuring. Oh, this works. This is, and to be fair, this is something where they've told us in the tutorial, hey, this doesn't work for this reason. I would go ahead and I would be up for 3.5 hours, be like, why has this done this? And this is the kind of very frustrating problem solving that'll often get you. Let's add an
Ooh.
on-click attribute to both buttons.
So we're now putting an on-click attribute. We've done on-click in JavaScript, but you can also assign on-click stuff in HTML. So,
So hang on a second.
um,
I think this is the first time we've seen this. This means, so I find this in JavaScript really, really hard. This is a keyword that means the thing we're looking at now. Okay, you just nodded like that's completely reasonable.
no, that's absolutely right.
Oh, no, I meant as a concept, like, yes, my description was better than right, probably principle than genius. But the concept of this, I find very, very challenging. So,
It's a bit. Yeah. Sorry.
oh, no, like, but the only way we're all gonna get better at this and this keyword, is to just do it until it scares us less.
Absolutely. This is, and I'm gonna say this. This is gonna be a bit frustrating, and I apologize in advance. The concept of the this keyword, is going to take some getting used to, and I apologize. So, uh, Stephen B, I'm gonna bookmark your question. We'll come back to it later
It's a
because it is a
really
valid
good question.
question.
Okay, but everybody
So,
else is like, "Ha, ha, ha, this is really confusing." So, ha, 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 this is really confusing, and this keyword is really confusing.
yeah. Um, let's. So what we're going to be doing here is, and Chris is already asking, hey, wait, does this relate to the function you're working in? I'm going to bring it back my favorite German word, which is a mixture of ja and nein, yes and no, jein. Um, yes and no. This refers to a context. Um, in the in this case, we're going to be working with the button that we click. But before we do any of that, let's write some
No, no,
code.
no, 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 no. I'm passing this back to you for a second because I need to be outraged about this. So
Yeah.
if it's okay, can I have you drive from step 30 just for a couple of these because I need to make horrified faces and silently scream as we try and look at this. I've definitely done some
You bet.
JavaScript in the past, and I have the and I totally get that different things are hard for different people. Um, but I'd love to just entrust you to drive for this. This. Do you know what must be even worse? I think that for
What's that?
non-native speakers of English, this must be
Yeah.
even more. Um, mm,
The this keyword.
the this keyword. I don't even like that.
Fair.
Tower, that's a stunning question. We're gonna grab that and yeah.
This I definitely want to answer. This. Let me see if I got this right. Where's my quote mark? Give myself
See?
some notes.
See? So there's an old vaudeville. So vaudeville was early American theater. There's an old vaudeville act which became a bunch of like classic comedy bits, and it's if anybody's ever heard the like "Who's on third"
Mm-hmm.
kind of bit, it's like that. And whenever people try and teach the this keyword, It always feels a little bit like a vaudeville bit to be like, "Oh, this is doing this." But like, no. Oh, who's on first? Chris makes it. Who's on?
Oh,
Thank you, my love. Who's on third would be a very different vibe, much, much more charged.
so let's look at this. OnClick is a property. Sorry, an attribute of an HTML element. The string value in here is JavaScript. You're saying what? I'm saying take a look at this. Console log
Take a look at
hi.
this.
Take a look at this. This is a bit.
Take a look at
This
this.
is a bit. So this is a bit weird, but this is inline JavaScript. If you've done the CSS and Java web development bootcamp, you might remember inline CSS. Here we're doing inline JavaScript in our HTML. Let's try this out real quick. It's super weird. Like, I'm not going to even deny it. Let me try adding a task. Now I'm going to click on this new edit button. Yeah. So the JavaScript that I put in here got run. Now, let's go back to your question, Tower of Brilliance, because it is kind of relevant here. This is the onClick. We've just set the onClick attribute of our edit button HTML element. But we've also set this onClick element back in JavaScript. For example, when we've done like
Okay, so OnClick. So really, we can think of this very, very literally like writing
yeah,
inline CSS. And like for folks who didn't do the web bootcamp, I'm really, really sorry. It does make way more sense. But before we learned about making a separate CSS file, we learned how to write little snippets of CSS in our HTML, and that's not
yeah.
the chillest way to do it. And here, that's kind of the exact same thing for JavaScript. We're writing a little bit of JavaScript that lives in our HTML.
Stephen Beast has it here. So I'd guess that onClick as an attribute is probably the older way to make that event happen. Add event listener is more likely more recent and flexible since it handles clicks, submits, changes, etc. Perfect. Now, what if I console log this? Now I'm going to console log the this keyword. No idea what's going to happen, by the way. Let's try. Empty string, but empty object, but remember, it refers to an element. Because in this context, this is a keyword that refers to the current context. In this case, the this keyword points to the element that triggers the event, the buttons. So when I click on the button, I'm console logging the button. The button is saved in a temporary, you can call it a variable, a value, a context called this.
I hate it.
No, it's gonna take it's gnarly. It's gonna take some getting used to. Let's
Let's just go through this step and see how it feels. Do you know what's really nice about this keyword? It
yeah.
really encourages us to hate regular expressions less.
Ooh, cesium. Cesium. Does the word context have a specific technical meaning here? I would say, I'm sorry, I would say yain again, yes and no, because context is a oh, I don't know how to describe the word context.
Oh, learner makes a good point. Can we check the type of this?
Oh, that is a good point.
And
Um,
I don't think we've done type of.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, learner, are you not up very, very late? I'm not your mama, but
Makes sense. It's an object.
oh. Okay, well,
But
because it's not a string, it's not a number, it's not a float, it's a Boolean. That makes sense.
yeah, so in this case, the context. How would you define context? I'm really caught off guard here.
It's
In terms
the
of
thing we're focused on, which in this case is an element and usually gonna be an element? Often
that
gonna be an
sounds good.
element. Yeah.
Let's go with the dictionary definition as well. The circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood. And I feel like this carries over to the context of where, for example, a button click is taking place. What is the context? What is the surrounding message? What is the surrounding environment of that button click? In the context of the button click, uh, this is the thing that we've just clicked on, i.e., the button. Oh, yeah. And that's going to take some mulling over, I admit.
Yeah. I hate it. Obviously some folks who have just automatically got it faster are gonna be like, "Yeah, no, it's great, woo." And good for y'all. Um, but no, I thought that regular expressions were the worst thing, and I like this less.
So we'll start with um, defining our delete task function, which remember, we're already starting to call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane, that's a delightfully cursed question, so I'm gonna save it for the end if it's okay.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, delightfully
So,
cursed. It's not implying it's not great. I genuinely like it.
so new function called delete task, and it takes as a variable, as a parameter, button L. Here, L stands for is a shortened form of element. And you're wondering, wait, where's that element coming from? Scroll up real quick. Remember how I've been trying to say that this is the element that's being clicked, i.e., the button. So that's get past
Mm,
here.
I like this less. I was already pretty unhappy. No, we'll just go. We'll go together, and if it makes sense, it makes sense, and if not, we can all decide that we'll be Python developers instead. Would Python do this to us? Python would do this to us.
Python has some weird self stuff that, as a previous Ruby developer, I find weird. But hey, to each their own.
All right, class. If we hate this, we're writing our own programming language, and surely it will avoid all of the problems that previous programming languages have done.
Oh, hold on. I remember this. So we're going to set the data array index. Find index. Item will be the parameter because, as Chris said, you don't need parentheses here as there's only one argument. You're totally right. One parameter. I'm going to be pedantic. Where was I? And in the callback, check that the ID of the item is 3 equals to the ID. So hold on. Button EL dot parent element. So hold on a minute.
Yeah, no,
Button
you have to
EL,
hold on a minute.
button EL parent element. Let's scroll up. Let's scroll up real quick.
So what does the
Oh,
button element live inside of?
so this button lives inside a div with the ID of the ID of the task. Let me try that again. The parent element of the button is the div, which has an ID of the ID of the task.
Okay, so so what we're really doing is so what we're doing by checking to make sure it has the right ID is saying, "Hey, look, I engineered this so that the task we've just added should have the ID that corresponds to the task I've just added.
Yep,
And if it doesn't match, something's gone a little wrong."
exactly. So button element dot parent element, that gives us, remember, that div dot ID. So we're going into the button element. We're saying, hey, button element, give me your parent element. Hey, parent element, remember, I know that you're a div. Give me your ID. And since that
Okay.
ID, we're comparing that with the item ID, and that way we're going to find the index of the task that we want to delete. We good so far?
Oh, no. No, not at all. I've never been well, I mean, I've been worse. You know what? This can't hurt us. So, hang on.
Let's keep
If I'm
going.
gonna delete my
Yep.
task,
Yep.
here's the parameter I need to run this function, which is the button element. Um, I've got a callback function, so I've got a function inside my function, and inside
Uh-huh.
this callback function, I'm going to set my data array index to be equal to the truthiness or falsiness of if the task data find index item ID is the same ID as the button element parameters parent ID.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Because I just said words next to each other. So let's go. I don't know.
This is super tricky, but we'll experiment, bend our minds around it. We'll get there. If you're ever in doubt, just do some console logging. For example, you know what? Let me console log this.
Can you console log? Ah. Oh no, that's
Give me
that's
one sec.
probably significantly more useful.
Parent element dot id. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, let's do that. So let's console log that. Oh no, I have to start over. Thanks, learner. Cool. Now I'm going to delete it. I'm going to click on delete. So check it out. There's a button element dot parent element dot id. That is the ID of the div that contains the button, which is, in this case, wef and that timestamp that we built yesterday. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's keep going. So now we're going to remove the task from the DOM using remove,
Okay.
and we're going to remove the task. So we're going to remove it in two places.
So we're going to remove it from the actual web page, so the HTML, and that's the
Yeah.
DOM, the document object model,
Yep.
and remove. Okay.
We're also going to
And
remove. Yep.
from the array. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to remove it from both the DOM and the task data array using something called splice. And splice is a method that exists on arrays that lets us remove items from an array from a given index start to a given index end. Let's take a look at this example real
This is
quick.
just like an apple corer almost. So like, oh, punch a hole that removes these.
Oh yeah, I like that. So why can't I see more of it? Oop. No, the space here is a little restricted. That's fine. So we've got an array here called fruits, which has a mango, date, cherry, banana, apple. So we're going to remove the date and cherry from the array starting at index 1. So we're going to say, hey, the removed fruits is going to be set to be equal to fruits.splice, and it takes two arguments, 1 and 2. So it's going to start removing at index 1 and stop removing at index 2.
I don't love this as an example because it says 1 and 2 and it's removing 1 and 2. But if we said 1 and 3, it would remove date, cherry,
1,
and banana.
yes, it's going to remove from 1 to 3, for example. Oh,
Okay,
that's,
so
yeah.
the first number in splice is where we start cutting, and the
Yep,
second number in splice is where we stop cutting.
correct.
Okay.
Now, this function returns the stuff that was removed. date and cherry.
So cut this out and give it to me.
Yeah, give me the stuff that I cut out.
Okay.
Then the original array is modified. So now date and cherry are gone. So it's weird, but we'll get used to it. Trust me. So first, okay. First, we'll use the remove HTML method. So button el dot
So
parent.
okay.
That
So
removes. Yeah,
this is gonna get rid of the whole div that this button element sits inside.
correct.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I made him. So next, we will go to task data and splice out the element starting at index data are index, the index of the one we're currently in. And now I have to apologize because I misexplained something. The second argument here is not the index at which we end, but the number of items that we're removing. I'm sorry. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. So this makes it worse with the way I explained it because 1 3 would still remove date cherry banana.
Yeah,
But that's because okay. So I'm thinking of this as um like a hotel booking website. So I want to book from the first of the array dates. So I want to book from the 1st of March and I want to stay for 2 nights. So that would gray out these two. Ooh, hmm,
Oh, there we go. Focus is
yeah.
back.
So okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's useful, but in my heart, I'm thinking of this as a booking website. So I want to start on this location. I want to start on this date, and I want to stay for 2 items or 3 items.
Yep. In this case, we want to remove, starting at data our index, we want to remove that one item. So we'll start cutting at that index and just remove one. Tell you what
We
we're
don't
going to
need to
do.
say 1 1?
No, because we're starting at the index of the item that's going to be deleted.
Okay. Oh,
Task data. Yeah, we're going to do this.
yeah.
Make the same mistake. And we'll console log before and after. Task data. Everything's fine. By the way, Jess, I don't want to hog all the fun, so if you want to start driving again, that's totally cool.
I do not. I would like to continue to have an existential crisis.
Mhm. Let's add
Oh,
3 tasks.
yeah. Well, you're adding them. So Kai, I think that like this makes sense to me. You were going document dot remove button L parent element. That makes sense to me.
Maybe that's how you do it. Let's find out. Let's find out. But first I'm gonna keep the console in case it is indeed right. Where was I? Sorry, I got distracted. There we go. Because I want to console log before and after. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna remove the second one, the one at index 1. Okay, so it is this way. Good to know. But let's check our console logs real quick. Here's our 3 tasks. 1, 2, 3, and we wanted to remove this one. Remember, this one.
Hello, friends.
Yeah, and if we check it after, it removed the Hello Friends task.
Okay, so it seems like a big part of this is not is merely not panicking when we see a big wall of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm
Let's
so
try
sorry
it
where I was
both.
like, "I'm gonna type today," and as soon as we got to something terrifying, I was like, "No, you know what? No." In my defense, I've been doing open source goofy things all day. And a bad job by
Okay.
those as well.
Oh, I beg to differ.
So, okay, just a little arrow function, an empty arrow function. We're going to pass in button L as our parameter, but that's it. Our empty curly babies. Just boom. Okay. I do like how free code camp will give us like a solid little like, hey, I'm sorry I hurt you. Have a task that'll
Uh-huh.
hurt us less. Okay, so we need
Wait.
to find the index of
Hey, this seems familiar.
can can we? Can we?
I
No.
think we
So
can.
because it says because we're looking for the index array again, do you think we can? Shush up. Code
I'll definitely pat pat.
reusability.
So next, we're going to use aha. We're going to use task data. So whoopsie, task data, square brackets, and we need that array. That's data
Data.
r index. And we're going
Okay.
to set it to be equals to the current task. So we're updating.
Oh, hang on. What this says is the task data array. Go ahead and at the index we're at now, set it to current
Yep,
task.
correct.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
We're going to replace.
Yeah. What's already there. And
Oh,
that makes sense. Ooh.
task
Ooh.
data. Wait a minute. You should assign task data, data are indexed to current task. What is that if not this? Task data, data are indexed to current task.
Oh, people are saying to flip it around. It's the other way around.
Thank you.
No, I'm laughing because I would have just spiraled forever.
Sure.
Right? Because like to me, you were like, oh, set this to that. I'd be like, that's not to that. But
Fair enough. Pat pat. So the task to be edited is now in the current task object. And we're going to stage it for editing. Now we'll do the actual
okay.
so the setting value of so stage
So
it for
what we're going to
editing
do is we're going
inside
to
the
overwrite the current task title, current task date, and current task description.
uh-huh.
So I think we're going to equals them instead of plus equals this time.
Yes. So title input dot value. We're updating the form to show the values of the current task. I feel silly.
Why would you feel silly? You're A, this is hard, and you shouldn't feel silly anyway, or you'll set a bad example.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's fine.
cool.
No pressure,
Can I
but
try it?
yeah. You saw me like coming up for a pat pat, and you were like, not yet.
Oh, it doesn't show the form yet. But that is a pat pat.
Little pat pat. I am going to be cruel because this only goes to 59. We'll keep going for a little while longer, but we do want to abandon the learners and let them try on their own a bit at some stage.
Yes. However, we haven't gotten to local storage yet.
Okay. Where's the hard part? I don't remember.
I wanna get to that. I might skip some of these. I'm with you 100%,
Yeah.
but I do wanna cover local storage itself.
Yeah.
Give me
Because
one
that's a
second,
hard
folks.
concept.
I think I'm
Not a
almost there. I think it's
problem.
step number 49. Do
49.
we wanna
We're
skip over
almost
to
there.
49?
Let's skip to 49. Good news, babbies. Your homework will include 35 or 35. Cha cha cha. Where are we?
43.
43 to 49. Oh, that's not even that bad, I say, as someone giving and not receiving homework.
I'll let you all get the context of how to build this because this isn't all too different now that we've understood how to do this button EL stuff. What I want to make sure that we don't leave without doing is local storage itself. So
Okay.
what's been done in the meantime? All of our form updating and all of that fancy updating of items has been done. This is all done with knowledge you already know. But now what we're going to be doing is using local storage to store these tasks into my browser's storage so that when I refresh the page, the goal is to be like, cool, local storage, do you have any items? Cool, I'm going to display them real quick.
Okay. So this is really a conversation between JavaScript and the browser. And what we've been
Yeah.
doing so far is JavaScript has been giving things to local storage, like, hey, hold on to this.
Yep,
And now we say, hey, can I see what you have?
exactly.
Okay.
So in JavaScript, we have access to something called local storage. There's a couple of methods it has available for us. Set item to say like, hey, store a thing called this with this value. You might recognize this from JavaScript objects. It's the same concept. Same goes for get item. Hey, get the item with the property of this. You can delete items or remove them
Oh,
with this
oh,
key. What?
this feels a little bit like the CRUD concepts we were talking about.
Yeah. And we can also clear out all of the local storage. So we have a my task. Oh, sorry. Local storage. We're going to set item data to have a value of my task R. Jane says this is getters and setters pretty much. So now that it's been run, has it been run? It's been run. Check this out. I'm going to open up my console in JavaScript. And there's a tab called application. And here we have access to something called local storage, which we can take a look at here in Free Code Camp, I believe. And check it out. We have a key called data with a value object, 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 and object, object. Not the most helpful stuff. So what's happening is that JavaScript is turning these objects into the string object, object. Local storage can only store strings. So you're probably wondering, but hold on, how do I store data if I can only store strings? What we can do is convert those
In and out of, yeah, because we've turned things into strings before. There's got to be a way to turn things out of strings.
Yeah, Mehmet's asking, where's our data?
You'd be like,
And this is where
object,
it comes in.
object. That's not cute. Show me what the object is.
So what we're going to do is turn it into something called JSON, which is short for JavaScript Object Notation. So we're going to say, hey, JSON stringify. Like, hey, JSON, could you stringify this object?
I'm going to stop
Let's
you.
try it now. Go
No,
for it.
definitely try it, but then I'll stop you. So what we're talking about is JavaScript objects. There's sort of a separate language that we can store JavaScript objects in called JSON.
Correct.
Um,
It's an
it's a notation. It's not really a language, but shh, a different format.
what this is one big string. This here is one big string. So
Okay.
what's going to happen is that when we go to read that data, we're going to take that JSON and turn it back into JavaScript objects.
Okay, so JSON is a format for rendering or writing JavaScript objects. Cool. That
Yep.
can't hurt us. That can't hurt us. JSON's a way to write JavaScript objects. JSON's, and it's not necessarily us writing it. Sometimes our JavaScript will put things in JSON for us. Okay.
Correct.
And we can
JSON
turn that
is
into a string in order to see them again. Okay.
no. We turn them into a string now to store them. We'll turn them back from a string into an object.
Oh, rad. So, okay, take this data, turn it into a string because I want to hang on to it because that's what I can hold. And then later on, I've got to turn that string back into JSON, a JSON object.
No, back from JSON. So the string is JSON.
Yes.
Then we want to turn it back from JSON into an
A
object.
JavaScript object. Okay.
Yes.
I've made this more confusing for everyone, but I'm finally
No,
there.
no, no. This is good. This is good to double check. First. Second, I highly recommend familiarizing ourselves with JSON. JSON is pretty much the most common way to store and transmit data nowadays. API, you might have heard of APIs. Don't worry if you haven't. They'll come up. Communicate with JSON. All data that we're sending, heck, a lot of the chat that Jess and I see here are JSON objects being rendered in StreamYard. Like YouTube is saying, hey, StreamYard, here's some JSON data of the latest chat. This JSON object contains, for example, Monica's really insightful comment. It does sound silly. It says, cool, this JSON contains Monica's icon from YouTube, Monica's name, and the text that Monica sent. Also the time at which it was sent, but y'all can see it. We can see it. So this is a bunch of data.
Okay. Cautious pat pat.
Cautious pat pat.
So now that this data is saved in local storage, we can go get it using get item by saying what key it is. Okay. So we've been used, so local storage.get item, data. Okay. Yeah, definitely console log data, please. Huh. Huh.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I thought this looks like just an array, but look what happens if I try to access the first object. I get an opening bracket. You might be wondering, wait, what? I thought we had an array here. But data is not an array. Data is a string. We just asked local storage for that string because this is still JSON. So when I got the zero, the part at index 0, we got the first character in that string. This is not these are not JavaScript objects yet. This is a string of JSON.
No, I follow you. I'm just like a little bit mad about it.
I promise it'll make sense.
Oh, no. Like it makes sense, and that's why I'm mad.
My bad. I gave the variable the wrong name. I got excited. There we go.
I hear that reading all of the instructions is a little bit out of fashion. We've got that modal, which we learned about modals yesterday, and that's the like pop-up, which is not necessarily a pop-up ad. Although this is a would you like to donate so we can be happy. Oh, I mean, we're pretty happy either way, but the good people at Free Code Camp would love to see the ability to make more and more courses. Okay. So we've got a string, and we're going to melt it back into an object.
Correct. So we're going that string is going to be an argument for the function JSON.parse. Parsing, in this case, we've done a little bit of parsing before. We've parsed dates before. Take a string, turn it into a date. Here we're taking a string of JSON, turning it into an object.
Okay. So what we mean by parse is really, hey, look at the string, and if this is a data type that I know what to do with, go ahead and turn it into the specified data type. Okay, cool. I say cool, but like, okay. So we're making a new variable get task array object, and that's us parsing the JSON string for local storage dot get item data. Okay.
So we're taking that local storage data and parsing it using JSON.
Oh, that console log is gonna chill me right out, isn't it? Can we have another console log with type of?
Yeah, let's do that first. So the first, actually, let's do both because we still have this one here.
Oh, yeah.
So the first one's a string, second one's an object.
Okay. So this feels like a lot of work because we started with an object. We're like, oh, turn it into a string so we can hang on to it, and then turn it back into an object so we can do stuff with it. But
So the
I'm pretty
for
chill about
so as
why.
you can see, yeah, so you can see the format here looks a little bit different. This is one smushed up string, and this is now an array with 3 objects in it.
Okay. I believe you. And so does Free Code Camp.
I think I'm feeling pretty good about letting y'all do the rest of local storage stuff.
Because you want like it sounds so cruel to say, oh, we want to let people struggle a hot minute. But like if we
No,
do all of it, you don't get the chance to like push on stuff and see what creaks.
I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss at least introducing local storage here.
You are farm. I was just like, let's make sure people get to explore. And you were like, within reason. Oh no, are we doing recursion tomorrow? I mean, oh yay, are we doing recursion tomorrow?
Oh, cool. Friends, I'm gonna have a lot of homework. Um, if you haven't done recursion yet, it's gonna be a little bit confusing. I apologize in advance. I would recommend if you have the time, if you have the energy, see if you can just preview some of this by going through it a little bit before you come in tomorrow, because it is going to the short version is that recursion is the concept of using see is a function that calls itself. This is not going to make sense right now. Go and check it out. Go and preview it. We'll walk through it tomorrow. We're going to use Python tutor, and if you ever get confused, please use Python tutor a lot.
Okay, so you spent years not telling me about Python tutor, and then with the learners, you're like, oh y'all, come on. So I'm actually going to set weird homework. I'm going to say, don't worry about finishing these lessons that we've just done. You can finish them at the end of the boot camp. You can finish them, I mean, over the weekend if you must. I'd prioritize previewing, like doing some of the recursion steps, looking at them. If you've got an option of doing one or the other, I'd prioritize like my homework for y'all, if it's not very bold to tell y'all what to do, is if you've got a choice between one or the other, I'd go ahead and spend some time looking at recursion just because conceptually it's kind of wobbly.
Yeah.
And if you're not a native speaker of English and you're like, oh, I've never heard that word before, it is a completely imaginary word that just means soft and gelatinous and indistinct. In Japanese, like maybe hua hua. Let's take a look at some questions. So,
oh, sorry, I got distracted by Stephen very correctly saying that that is very funny that you have every right to be upset about Python tutor.
are there like other things you've been holding back on? Like, oh yeah, I secretly had 2 cute puppies you could be petting.
I wish. Let's do some questions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, step 34. So, why isn't the plus equals there to not meant to not override previous tasks? Yes and no, Stephen B. Because if you take a look, let me scroll down real quick. We're looping through each task and adding a div for each one. The plus equals here is to not override, because if we did it with just equals, there's only ever going to be one task in there. So by using plus equals, we're saying, hey, add all of the ones in the array. Does that make sense? I hope so. Come back at me if you haven't. We did Tower of Brilliance's question already about the difference between onClick and the click event listener. So is onClick an HTML attribute intended just for JavaScript so we don't have to add the $ curlies? Is onClick an HTML attribute intended just for JavaScript? So onClick is an HTML attribute that lets us write, that sets up some JavaScript to be run when we click on it. when we click on that element. Is it so that we don't have to do the template literals? Not really. I don't think so. But I love this question from Monica. Can I highlight it? Are there any other common HTML attributes that act this way? Now, I believe, hold on, let's go to MDN. On
Because MDM should have things like this.
So on click, let's just do it
You're gonna
with.
in big in this. Come on.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh no, it's because I
Let's-
got old lady eyes.
No, you're good. It's on A, animate, animate motion, circle, defs, blah, 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 blah. Look at all this. So here's what I want to say about on click. I would recommend using it only for buttons. Why? Because of accessibility.
Ah.
Making a website usable for a user that's using perhaps assistive technologies, they're going to expect a button to be clickable. They're not going to expect a random div to be clickable. You might have seen on the internet people doing some sort of like jokey, like, haha, divs as don't stop using divs as buttons. They are right.
Stop using divs as
So
buttons. What do you know? What our learners would never. Our learners have such good they know that a button should be a button. They would never.
yeah.
Especially now that
So
I've just said they would never.
so I would recommend going with just button. Could I use this on any HTML elements? I think I kind of answered my question. So if I were to put an on click on an A, yeah, this would then refer to the A, the link. This refers to the element that I just clicked.
Okay. So if I'm using on click with this, I mean this thing that I clicked.
Correct. But Monica's saying, hold on, Stephen. Well, I'm just going to go back to this question from Stephen about the duplication.
Yeah.
Then why was there a duplication? Before I did that resetting, check it out. No, nothing. Like let's walk through it. Right now, the task container is empty. But when I add this new one, it's going to loop through the new task data, which is now going to contain one task in it, and add it. So now our task container has one div in it. But because of plus equals, check it out. Now I'm going to add a second task. When I add that second task, it's going to take my new task data, which now has two elements, and add two divs to it. Teach JavaScript, teach JavaScript, teach JavaScript. Okay, I probably should have given it a different name.
It's not that it's adding it. So it's not that it's plus equals to the. It's not just that it's plus equaling another div onto the parent container. It's that it's plus equaling it in that for each queue. So because our last entered task is still in sort of a line to be loaded, it means it loads the whole list of them.
Yeah, kinda.
I'm saying this in a very weird way.
No. I'll find I'm being confusing. Let me start over. Okay, I'm gonna give these tasks different names. 1, okay, and 2. So first it added 1. Now, like before I added the second task, I added a task called 1. It rendered the array of tasks into the task container. There was only one task. When I added the task 2, it said, cool, now we've got an array of 2 tasks. I'm going to add them to that container. So it started with 2 and did 1 again. And if I had a task called 3, check it out. It takes the current task container, which has 1, 2, 3 elements in it, loops through the new task data, and adds those elements as well. So each time I add the task, it's duplicating it. It's not that the duplicate is in the array. The duplicates are here in the DOM. We never, when we're adding the same tasks again and again. That's why when we make a new task, we need to flush out the task container so that we can render all of the tasks. Because otherwise we're just going to be adding the same the elements that already exist. Does that make sense? Play with it. Play with it.
Mostly.
It's confusing. I think that's it. We don't have any more questions. Shall we let folks go?
Homework. Don't worry about finishing this. You can finish it next week, next year, next summer. It's fine. So the local storage thing is super important, but it's less conceptually indistinct. Yeah, that's how you say wobbly. It's less conceptually misty than recursion is going to be. So if you've got the option, go ahead and just preview recursion a little bit, just because it's going to feel a little weird, but it's just JavaScript and it can't hurt you.
I would strongly recommend starting to look at this before we meet tomorrow. We're going to be doing two parts to this. There is going to be some rushing through. I'm going to put a little announcement on the Discord that we should probably consider doing some of this.
Yep.
But don't worry, we'll walk through it. We'll do lots of Python tutor. We'll also get some rest.
That's the thing. So like, preview this, but don't stay up all night. Don't like the big. If I could give you the homework I want to give people isn't real homework, where I'm just like, hey, just sort of limber up and be cool. Just come into this really relaxed. But anytime you tell somebody, hey, relax, this is going to be a little stressful. It's only a little stressful. It's just JavaScript. There's no test. Our boss is not yelling at us about this. Genuinely, it can't hurt you until you're using it out in the wild. That wasn't reassuring. It's just JavaScript. It can't hurt you yet. Bye, my loves.
Take care, everybody.